Onegaishimasu. Come apart with your feet, parallel feet. Settle your hips, establish your hips. Relax your hands, shoulders, elbows. Shake free the hands, let the blood flow into the fingertips. Relax the shoulders, reach up. Drop your tailbone straight into the ground. Flatten the lower back. Round it off slightly. Breathe into the lower back. Relax the hands, wrist, elbows, shoulders. The joint, let the joints open up. Release the knee joints, come down. Don't come down too far. Sit down as if on the bar stool. Table straight down. Legs stretched. Feet flat on the ground. Concentrate on the inner arch. Concentrate on the inner arch. So your knees are not flexing out, but they are sustained from the hip joints. If you come over the ball of your foot, letting the heels just float ever so slightly, you will feel a straining and a tensing up in a positive sense of your legs. Round off your back and keep coming back. I keep returning to my back because I need to put my conscious attention on my lower back, especially since I'm very tall. Put my conscious attention on my lower back to round off the back, to flatten my lower back. And with the help, I breathe in. When I breathe in, I want to feel the expansion. So you can use your hands to feel that you expand the lower back area as you breathe in, and that expansion will carry you all the way to the front. So the whole area around the waist, the hara, the center of your body, including the koshi area, are now being expanded. You slightly sit in on the hip flexors here, knees slightly bent. Concentrating on the lower body at the moment, relaxing the chest, relaxing the shoulders, the arms. Once again, working my way slowly, letting the tailbone drop straight down, flattening, rounding off the lower back, breathing into the lower back, expanding the whole hara. Now, lift the interior of your pelvic floor, the perineum. Lift it ever so slightly with your muscles that you have down here in the front and the back. Ever so slightly, a half an inch or something like that. By lifting that up, by flattening and rounding off the lower back, you're going to make contact with your legs into your hara, into your spine and upper body. Pull up the perineum, hoist the pelvic floor ever so slightly, seal the spine. Now fill out the rib cage, fill out the rib cage. Fill out these areas underneath the arms here. Round off the middle back ever so slightly and flatten the space between the shoulder blades. So your whole back is opening and rounding, coming around. Opening, opening, and coming around. Tailbone drops straight down. Parallel feet. Drop in into your knees. Tuck in here. Hoist the perineum. Breathe into the lower back. Seal the spine. Now, open your hands, extend your fingers. Do it again. Open your hands, extend the fingers out, 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 and let the wrist turn up. So as you extend them out, the arms are floating up. Opening the chest, pry open the chest from the breastbone outward. Let the shoulders go sideways, like opening a barn door. Extend the fingers apart from each other so there's a stretch, a mutual opposing stretch in both directions, horizontal stretch between fingertips and the left and the right hand. So you have a vertical stretch, elevating yourself from the crown of the head as you have gravity pulling you down. So you pull from the crown of your head, you pull from your feet, you have a stretch from the feet to your hara, you have a stretch from your hara to the top of your head. Opening the chest, pull the chest open, extend the hands out. So now you have what we believe that Olsen says meant the Aiki cross. We have the vertical extension, the stretch in polar directions, opposite directions, the yin and yang. We have the horizontal stretch apart. I think Olsen says spoke about when we speak about the vertical, heaven and earth, when he spoke about left and right, but water and fire. So the Aiki cross. Many times when Osensei spoke about the 4 directions, he spoke about the cardinal directions, north, south, west, and east. Bring your arms down. Keep the extension through the fingertips so you feel the end of the fingers. You feel the stretch through the palm as your fingers are gently being pried open and away, extending. Breathe into the lower back. Breathe into the lower back, relax the hands. Now focus again on the lower body. Always coming back to the basic position here. Now, energize your fingertips, breathe in, turn over and push your hands up, breathe out. Extend, gonna back up now so you can see the full length. Now extend towards the ceiling and completely go vertical So at this point, when you really want to extend the stretch here, you can even come up on your toes. So keep stretching, come up on your toes, keep stretching up, keep stretching up, keep stretching up. You can bring your palms together, keep stretching up. And then you can come down. Shoulders comes down, elbows comes down, and then hands comes down. Back into your tailbone, lower back, lift up the perineum, come up, pry open the chest, and come apart. This stretch from left and right hand, you want to feel the stretch across your chest. So you want to open the chest, as well as you want to feel the stretch across the shoulder blades. So you want to flatten the space between the shoulder blades. And ideally, you will feel the stretch in front and you feel the stretch behind at the same time. I find it very difficult to feel that. So I draw my hands slightly back, arms slightly back, in order to feel the extended stretch across my chest from fingertip to fingertip. Now we want to feel it across my shoulder blades and upper back. I move my arms slightly forward just to accentuate the stretch across the upper back. When I come down with the hand, I bring my elbows down first, and then I bring my hands down. Keeping my hands and fingers alive, relaxing the shoulders, dropping my shoulders consciously, really drawing my shoulders down. So my shoulders are drawn down, they're consciously drawn down. They're not just sitting still, they're consciously being drawn. Just to repeat, we can go back to the feet, just to feel the feet slightly elevating the heels ever so slightly, so you feel the stretch happening through the legs. Come down in your knees, tuck into your hips, like if you sit on the bar stool. Now you can have a rounded feeling on the inner arch, as if you would sit on this on a horse or a pony, a small pony. So you would come down there. So you feel the nice stretch in your legs, on the inside as well as on the outside, on the front, the knees, on the back as well. So you feel that stretch coming down. Now your shoulders sits on the hip. So if you would turn into Hummy, your shoulders are just following your hip, like this. Now we done, in the last video, we did first, second, and third Suburi. Today we're going to look at the spiral and the rotational quality that we have in much of our movements. So I want to start with parallel feet facing forward, coming down in the extended stretch that we've been exercising. Now I want to feel, to start with, I want to have a slight movement from foot to foot. So I'm moving and shifting my weight from leg to leg, ever so slightly, using the ball of my foot to transfer the weight, as if I had a slinky up in my hip area. So I slink over, I slink back, I slink over. You know the slinky that kind of draws and draws and draws. Never go 100% over one leg. Don't go 100% over leg. Stay between the feet. And every time you come down, every time you slink over to one leg, you kind of hit the ground, you kind of hit the bounce pad. So you have a little bit of a boom, bounce, and you're back to the other side, and you have a little bit of a bounce. So as you hit the ground, as you have come over, you cannot hit the ground, you cannot hit the ground. So you have a little bit of this lightness from side to side. So of course the knees are playing part here, so you gotta alternatively bend the knees here as you go from side to side. But you don't want to come down, you still want to have the good stretch through the body. So this is just in one direction, back and forth. Then we want to start having a motion. So if you're going to draw one hand forward, alternatively, you're going to draw the other hand forward. Now you want to extend the fingers. So when the stretch happens through the arms, you feel it through the back, down the legs. So this comes forward, it draws forward. And if you alternate, this draws forward, stretching this part of the back. So I'm stretching my fingertips forward here to stretch the body. Don't throw yourself over. Stay here and just stretch and stretch. So stretch. You can see now this motion of a turn happens in the legs here. So this happens through rotation in the hip joint. Rotation in the hip joint. So this you have seen is what we call the infinity sign, the laying down 8 motions. We start doing this really flat, lying down 8, this motion. And you all have seen that when we do this exercise with the jaw. Excuse me. When we do this exercise with the jaw, you know, sometimes we do this as a warm-up. Recognize this motion now is not necessarily, absolutely, it's not a jaw defensive move. But really, this is an exercise for your koshi, for your hip and hara. And so you can see that exercise is the turning, the rotational turning of your femurs, your legs. So you have a rotational quality that, if I just do, that makes it go from side to side. And then the arms are just being swung based on your motion with your legs. Now you can activate the arms, but don't drive with arms. Drive with the legs, but then you can just incorporate the arms and the fingers through the stretch, down the back, down the legs. So you have this, you go from side to side. It would be the same thing with the jaw. Now, we're going to keep this with one hand only to start with. We want to rotate up and come down in the back, and we come up. Stretch, 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 turn, and come down. Turn, stretch, 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 stretch. Now, so that comes from, I'm just doing it with one hand now. So that can come up, and I can come around the head, and I can curve it up. So you can create a twirl, a rotation upwards. So you create this twirl through this motion between the legs, and it comes down. So if you just do the body turn here, it becomes this sweep here. Back, forward, back, forward, back, forward. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Or we can bring it continuously up. And this is still working with the legs. You could see how this would lend itself to yokomen. So you have this circular motion, and you have a yokomen or a cut. So you can see this rotational qualities that we have. Now you want to also use the other hand. You can start in the same manner. Just use your leg and feel the extension through the fingertips. Now you come up, draw up, come back, come forward, come back, and forward. So this is just moving the legs and essentially. Then we can continue curving And you can see that even the hand is rotating, the arm is rotating. That will lend itself to yokomen, shomen, yokomen, and cuts. So you can work both hands. You can ideally, as you like, you can start with one hand, so you don't get confused with both hands. Then you can work with the other hand, coming up. And you can see, depending on which rotation you do, it will lend itself to yokomen. If you do the rotation the other way, it lends itself to coming down. Throwing up, drawing back, throwing up, coming up, continuing up into spiral, and you can see how that spiral coming down the vertical point here. Now, just to move on, you can spend a lot of time on this. I'm just moving on because I want to see here how you can do both hands. So you move, 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 move. So you can alternate now. Alternate, alternate. Same motion. Originating from the legs, like this. Either we do this or we come up, 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 and come down. So it starts in this motion. You can see how we get into the Aiki. So from here, example, here's the shomen, here's the Ikkyu. Here's the show, or here's the, for example, Kagura-mai that lends itself to here. Here's the Kagura-mai this way. We alternating the hands, driving from the feet. Here comes the Ikkyu. Once again, here comes the Ikkyu. Here we have this, we have here Shihonage. You can see Shihonage. We have come back to the legs, drive from the legs. Here we come shomen over to Iriminage. So we come here, shomen will come into Iriminage and turn Iriminage, Iriminage, Kagura-mai, Kagura-mai. You can see how all motions, many of our motions, begin from this circular motions, lends itself to circular motion. If we turn to the side, because this we turn the other way, it comes this way. So whether we have a weapon or not, whether we come from the outside, whether we come from the inside, this circle, outside circle in, here. So we come here, we grab kotegaishi, and here's the kotegaishi. We grab the hand, we come up, and here's the kotegaishi. We come the other way, and here comes the irimi, and we come up from irimi. So you can see how much of this motion originates in the legs, between the feet. And this, but you have to have extend all the way out to the fingertips. So don't be spaghetti here. You need to have connection from the legs to your hara, your back, here, all the way out to the fingers. Now, reiterating last time that you need to fill out, flatten, round off your lower back in order to have some support in your hands. The legs will not be enough. I used to think that as long as I'm stable and bracing in my feet, I will have strength here. But I noticed that even though my legs might be strong here, I don't have anything in my hands. I don't have any strength. The moment I drop my tailbone straight to the ground, I do not tuck it in. I don't stick it out. I drop it straight in. That also, so if I'm in hami, I don't stick my butt out. Bad style. Tuck it in, and the strength goes down the leg. Round off the back, and suddenly I have support in my hands. Through the legs, through the back, out through my hands. With weapon or without weapon. The back is rounded off and comes to the front. this horizontal stretch is kept when the hands comes in the front. The chest is still opening up, elbow comes down, and you have the stretch across the back. So you have a good balance. And the slinky is still active between the feet. Now, you close the leg, then you close the leg. In order to move the slinky, you draw, you close to draw back. You close and you close. So you move as being pulled instead of raising up. You're being pulled, That's a whole chapter by itself, just to what to do with the legs. So I'm not going to go into it now because I want to work on the spiral quality that originates between the feet. How we do all the things here. Starting here, starting in the legs, starting in the rotation of the legs in your koshi, in your hips. I want to show you how that looks like with the sword. So if you grab the bokken, and usually I like when you start like this, is that when you take out the bokken, and this is usually in Iwama, step back, because that counteracts the forward motion with the sword. So you have a nice balancing out. So instead of stepping forward, you take it up and you just come into Kagura-mai, pointing to the eyes, to the face, extended arms. Don't let it sit on your body, please. It's a bit lazy. Extend it up as if you would point, as if you would have a shonen. Good. Now we're going to look at this. We're going to start with parallel feet again. Come down, pull up the perineum, hoist the pelvic floor, breathe into the lower back, come up a little bit like this. So we connect the body up, extend the fingers, bring the hands together. So now I want you slightly, just get the feeling of, we have this motion between the legs, between the feet. Just this motion a little bit. So now we're going to add a little bit motion as you bring this up. We're going to bring this up. So this twirling motion originates in the body. It's not just the sword. It's not just doing the sword twirl. It originates through a twirling motion originating through the legs. But you can see how you can widen that circle. And I'm going to go back so you can appreciate the height. So let's say you begin with the body. You have this motion like we did without the sword. When you bring the sword in, you can have this motion coming on, and you see Nosen doing this, and you keep twirling, and then you extend your energy, you keep through the sword up through the sky. So you have this is the vertical stretch. You can have this, and you can bring it, can either bring it smaller or you can widen it. And if you do it in the clockwise, it will lend itself to a right biggie cut. If you do it anti-clockwise, like this, it will lend itself to a cut on your left side. So you can twirl it both ways. But here, you twirl it up, and you come down. That will lend itself later when we do the Yoko-man. So you have this. If you do anti-clockwise, it will lend itself to the cut. We come up, we come down, we come down, We come up, we cut down. Now, in the beginning, you can do it with static feet, just so you feel the origination of the legs and the hip. And then, of course, you can move between the feet. And of course, one of the motions are irmitenkan. So if you would start this motion, it lends itself to irmitenkan. You have this motion, it lends itself to irmitenkan. But also, from time to time, put the sword away, because sometimes when we grab something, our mind goes to the weapon. So we want to return to connect the body, legs, lower body, hoist out, and then we want to get back into a connected body. So you have a connected body as your frame. Now, when you grab the sword, stay centered. Heel tip, heel tip. So that's a little bit of, about how to do the rotation in the body. And you can see there's so much in everything that we do that lends itself. I will show you one more thing with the jaw. So if you do the same exercise with the jaw, you can this is just to make you aware that there's a up and there's a down as well. So as you will notice, if you have a long jaw or a stick, I'm drawing a circle on the ground, or I'm stirring deep into the earth. And as at the same time, I'm stirring high up in the heavens. So there's a rotational aspect in both directions, leaving me in the center. So you can have that, and ideally that would create a very balanced center, like that. And you can see how this would then lend itself to the motions down on the more of a horizontal plane. So this motion here can lend itself to a horizontal plane here. So that same motion can be seen here. Let's see, we can bring it down here. So you can have this motion, or the forward motion, or the backward motion. So this we use to block, but also as we come in and ski. We come in and ski on both sides. So we have a twirl, we have a rotation through the jaw. Not always, it can be a flat Aiki ski, but we have equally a rotational aspect that we also can find here. Then, like we said, same thing in the manner with the bokken. It lends itself to, as it comes up, it lends itself to strike. For example, if you do the opposite side, it lends itself to strike on this side. Suburi number 19, for example. Here, coming up, doing the circle. Now I'm doing an extra one, but here, this is the circle. Now, of course, here's a block. Here's a strike. Here's a block. But inherent is the rotational quality of this. Inherent in those, we have the rotational quality, and we have these qualities as here, as here, as here, as the hustle, So that's bringing that back. So whether you play with a jaw or a bokken, coming back to the legs, the connect the body, connect through the fingertips, legs, perineum, back, fingers. Shoulder. So then we come irimi nage. Here. Shoulder. Irimi nage. Tenshi nage. Tenshi nage. I think that's it for now. Thank you. Arigatou gozaimashita.